that higher power, they make it kind of, they may expose themselves. But you're moving out of their field of influence, and they know it, and that's why they're getting pissy. If they lose control of you, if they lose the ability to influence you, no matter what they're throwing at you, they're going to lose influence over all the butterflies, not just you. That's another spin on the butterfly image there. It's another layer to it. So the power retrieval, this is the next layer here. I'm going to create some space here. All right. So this is how to call your power back. And this may just back up everything I just said and add some more layers to it. Where are you currently leaking power? Where this false knowledge, this false light, this twisting of your narrative can kind of sneak in here. Where are you currently leaking power and your boundaries are just not necessarily there? Okay, we have smoke signals. Something subtle is trying to get your attention. Don't wait for the full fire to believe it's real. Ooh, this is tying into the Carrie energy. Like the horror movie, she's just completely lighting everything and everyone on fire. She is like, she's not being discriminate. She's being very focused at certain points, but it's almost like the fire is controlling her. This is that subtle, this is the divine whispering to you. This is how the divine sets itself apart. This is the power that the divine brings. But these energies, they're loud. You can always tell who's the most insecure in a room. So say like you're going to a bar. And it's like the night where everybody's watching like the game or something. Or they're playing pool and it's some kind of like a competition or whatever it may be. Whoever in that bar is the most loudest person, the most obnoxious and loud and just kind of flamboyant. Yes, they may be a little tipsy, but that just adds to it. They're the most insecure. Just like bullies are actually cowards. They're the most insecure. They're the most scared. They bully other people to feel empowered because they don't feel empowered. It's the only way they can feel like they have control. So really, they're incredibly wounded. So that quieter voice, that quieter, calm knowing that's deep, that is your spirit team. That is your guide. That is your divine reaching you in a more detailed 3D way. Yes, it's still going to be of a higher perspective, but it's where the magic lies. It brings illumination amongst the storm clouds. So you're leaking power in this because you're so distracted, possibly, and overwhelmed by the loudness that it's hard to hear this. You have to do this to hear it. It's you have to make a practice of that. It's not necessarily present as prominently. And if you know this, you can begin to create neural pathways that more finely attune you to consistently listen, to hear, to tune this voice, this knowing up higher, and begin to tune out these shards of shallowness. That's funny, Spirit. The shards of shallowness coming at you. Okay, why do you give this power away? Like you're leaking power here. So why exactly are we giving this away? So we have two here. We have bad blood. Ooh, like very barbed vines here. You may think you're over it, but the resentment is still writing scripts in your subconscious. Well, that didn't just hit the nail on the head. And then we have Storm Tamer. Your relationship with chaos is evolving. You don't just survive storms, you alchemize them and then turn them into opportunities for transformation. So with this resentment, this is a very natural step in your healing process when you get here. It is completely understandable for you to be like, why is this still occurring? Because some of you, this is things you're like, okay, so I've been here, I've done this, I know this, yet it's still happening. And this is why. Because you resent that it's happened and that it's still happening. I'd say probably the most empowering shift that you could make here in, changing the perspective, which is, something that came out here and is backed up with this particular image as well, is how you choose to view the situation. So you feel this coming in, this twisting of the narrative. So it's like a thought, or, it presents itself like it's an alternative timeline. And it kind of like sucker punches you in a way. Like you're just going about your day and you're thinking about something, you watch something and you have this beautiful memory or knowing come to light. Bam. It goes, okay, well, if you go down this path, well, then this happens and that happens, and then this will be your trial. This will be your new test. This is going to be what you're going to need to be preparing for. Like this, like snarky voice. Yeah, I don't like that energy either. I rebuke that energy. It is an opportunity to take that and allow it to make you more powerful, if you will. So they want to do that. Well, they end up, when you don't respond, when you don't react, when you don't empower it, they will get frustrated because their falseness starts to show. Their sphere of influence is undermined because you're not moving or creating what they want you to. Thus, you are in a state of more empowerment. Like, you see that look on that lion's face? I mean, don't get me wrong, he looks pissed. There's nothing that says that you can't be like, really? Again? You're doing this again? Haven't you learned yet? How many times do I have to reject you before you get the picture that I'm not interested in buying what you're selling? Your anger, your rage, your shallow pettiness is not something that I want to deal with. Why are you still showing up uninvited? Like that kind of, ugh. If you are in that space in how you relate to it, and then you connect with source, you reaffirm your boundaries around it. If you do this, you will begin to see them expose themselves and undermine themselves and their falsity becoming something that is very obvious and apparent. And this resentment will start to ebb. It will start to become something that you don't identify with anymore. Because at some point, they won't have any energy to create with because you've given them none. This is very energetic and energy vampire. Very much so. If you don't feed it, it has nothing to create with. So, for example, if you have those thought processes come in where they're creating a whole alternative timeline, you can be like, all right, that's an interesting story. I don't want to create that. I'm not focusing there. I'm going to shred this whole thing that just came through. Just like visualize it being written down on a piece of paper and going through one of those industrial shredders. There's no way it could be put back together. Done. It's like they put in an order and you shredded it. So now they're going to sit there thinking that they have written this into truth. And when it doesn't occur, when it doesn't happen, when you're not feeding it with feelings or emotions, even if they do try to project anger towards you, you can recognize it is not your energy, not your emotion. And you can turn that energy from a negative into a positive. You could be like, ooh, they're getting a little more desperate. They're trying harder. They're putting more energy in to this. And it's not affecting them. I'm not going to give to it. And they will eventually have no energy. And in the process as well, because the divine is watching all of this happen through you, their karma, they are digging themselves a deeper hole. And that is their choice. That is on them. You are not responsible for their decisions. And that's part of why you're like, really? Still? Like, aren't you learning? Are you putting this together? So how do you call your power back here? What is the specific card for this? Because I was kind of answered in the second placement with the 2 cards coming out and just like channeling for you guys. But Spirit wants you to know that it's about aligned souls. It's about, you know, you're aligning with others of like mind. This kind of connection won't demand your sacrifice. It will mirror your strength. So you're going to be, as you're going through this, you're going to be able to connect with other energies, other individuals, other souls that are like, yeah, I'm right there with you, listening to these smoke signals. You know, your energy, as your energy vibration elevates. Also, there's hummingbird in the background here. And notice that we had like a lot of like moons. This is sun, very clearly sun. We also had sun here with the false knowledge and the trailblazer, which is the first card. First card, very like bright yellow. You're just going to elevate right out of their ability to even reach you. Anything that they would try to send to you, you're not in their range anymore. And yeah, you may have moments where you're like, really, I thought that finally I would be out of their range. That finally this was, you know, like the change, the shift, the healing that was needed to just really shake this right out of my awareness. And you may just be kind of almost like bored in your frustration with it. Like, you again? So that, yeah, to move, to break this is just to continue to focus on that, and it will continue to elevate you right out of their sphere. Okay. How to call your, how to hold your power without apology. Ooh, just that statement alone. Like, how do you, yeah, be unapologetic when you're in this space. Like, they may try to guilt trip you and be like, you left me behind. You were supposed to help teach me and bring me with you, and I was supposed to elevate with you. Yeah, you were, but you kept choosing to project negativity at me. So yeah, you got left behind. You did not want to elevate. You didn't want to do the work. Survival mode. And those 2 hands reaching for the light. In spite of the storm clouds, we have the flame yet again, the fire, and the mountains here. Oh, desolate. Tattoos are consistent too. Like the story, the path of your life. How can you dream when your nervous system is scanning for threats? Until you feel safe, your spirit will ration its power. So this is the process of making yourself feel safe. Okay. So spirit, your soul, your higher self, your divine spark is going to bring you dreams. For example, if you're a lucid dreamer, You completely understand this kind of an aspect, that this is one way in which this trickster energy, and I'm getting a feeling this is more than one individual, is trying to affect and control and manipulate you. Dream has come through earlier, like they may try to offer you something to eat. It's just like in the fairy realm. Don't consume anything. Like with Alice in Wonderland. Don't eat anything. Or Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. Don't eat anything. This it shows you that there's a progression of you being empowered, you having more control, you being able to draw those boundaries, you being able to know more and understand more. These are ways that your soul is saying, hey, like, you can see this as like a mile marker, a statement of you are now here, you have progressed in this, calling your power back, dissolving the false knowledge, the illusions, breaking free of this ick, trying to create with your power the world that it wants. Yeah, by getting you to react. So as these things happen, yes, they may be triggering because you're like, this feels just like, these past experiences where I was powerless. But are you powerless in this situation now? Do you have more control, more say, more power? And if any of those questions you answered yes to, this is your soul helping you to move out of fight or flight survival mode whenever you're in this aspect of your own power, so that you feel safe in this power, in this intuition, in this empath, in your psychic abilities. So you're not like, oh, I'm having a dream again. Oh, what are they going to do to me now? That's not going to be your first thought. Your first thought is, so they're effing around right now. All right. They're going to find out. And you have like this little like mischievousness to you. You're like, I'm going to flip this story right on its head. And they're going to be like, what the hell happened? Nothing I wanted to create was created. What am I going to do now? And you're just going to have like this little like laugh kind of smile to it. And eventually, they will just stop. Because they won't have anything to be able to reach you with. You'll be out of their vibration. You may have new challenges that challenge you to refine and move into more detail. And instead of having this anxiety, it could be an anticipation. It'll be like, oh, okay, so I'm in a training dream right now. Cool. What's the challenge? What's the puzzle? Testing your awareness, your ability to work with the energy. And maybe it like hits you in the middle of your day. Maybe you're shopping. A lot of people, they're in a meditative state when they're grocery shopping. That is like when your mind is idle, when you're driving and you're commuting, and it's not like stop and go traffic necessarily, but you just kind of go into autopilot. That is the space where this kind of stuff may also kind of sneak in and try to, mess with your thoughts and your emotions a bit. And this is pretty much something that will continue happening and happening and happening until you feel like you can make yourself safe whenever anything similar to this comes at you. You're not approaching it then with, what the heck? I thought this was done, this was over. You'll be like, oh, I don't need to worry about this. Know what to do here. Done. Taken care of. Solved. You pretty much, at some point, you just end up escalating it right up to source. You know what to do. If it crosses that boundary beyond that, it's not your fight. It's between them and God. It's not between you and them. Their actual bone to pick is with the divine. You were just an excuse. You were just an opportunity. Your light was so brilliant and amazing, and you were so tempting to not come towards them. This is the way that the divine pulls in lost souls. This is the way the divine does that. And once you feel safe, you won't be like identifying it as personal, as an attack, or even as the divine just being like, yeah, I'm not going to protect you. You'll be able to go, oh, this is you helping me know that I can protect myself because you've empowered me at this point to be able to do so. So you can authentically own that you're not in fight or flight. You're not in survival mode with your abilities. You understand what's going on and how to move, and you're excited to learn more as you go. Maybe you're like graduating from, being that little girl with like the training wheel, and then maybe you end up wanting to go into like mountain biking. Maybe you then go to like dirt biking. Maybe you then compete and you're doing like gnarly stunts when you're like 40 feet in the air. Like that progression. And I do want to give credit. There is another reader who used that specific key, that specific subconscious key of training wheels. And that is 144 from the Stars Tarot. Definitely check him out. He's gifted. He is definitely gifted. He's very close to the divine. So check him out. If anything in this reading resonated for you, he's probably got something going there. If you really can key in on that progression, yeah, this is beautiful reading. Okay. So that's pretty much the whole progression with that. What I am going to do is I'm going to grab one of these neurolinguistic programming cards, Mastering Your Reality. So this works with like neurology. Psychology, yes, but our brain, it is a tool. We have learned a lot about neuroplasticity. Those two just flipped right out. So we can really reprogram our own minds, our own brains. So the first thing here, we have overlapping systems. People process information differently. Some prefer visual cues, others prefer auditory or kinesthetic, acting it out. Using overlapping representational systems, you can bridge communication gaps. Speak in images, sounds, and feelings to ensure your message resonates with everyone, regardless of their preferred modality. So being a good storyteller, if you do like a YouTube search or Google, coachings of how to be a good storyteller, there's a lot of really good advice in there, if that's something that resonates for you. And then fragmented self. I haven't seen this one before. The artwork is just beautiful. When parts of your mind or emotions are in conflict, you can feel fragmented and indecisive. Facilitate wholeness by bringing these parts into dialogue and guiding them toward a common goal that honors the whole of who you are. Resolution begins with self-rapport. This is where this beginning with the shadow dialogue really came in, because that's where that fracturing happens. Like one part of you is over here like, yeah, I'm totally cool with like focusing on the high vibe, not giving to it, elevating beyond it. And yet there's another part of you that's like, yeah, but what the hell? Why? What? So you're struggling with not reacting to the thought or the emotion, yet you know the answer to elevate beyond it. So those two parts of you are tug-of-warring with you, and that causes this fragmented self. So by giving voice or listening to that part of you on one side of the tug-of-war and the other side of the tug-of-war, and then choosing you, what do you want to do? It's not choosing this side or this side. It's choosing yourself. And you can only do that by kind of listening to both sides and then just going up and cutting the rope in between the two of them and be like, This is not a competition that I'm going to give to either side. I'm creating my own path. Thank you for the information. I'm out of here. Very, very powerful reading, guys. Very powerful. All right. The divine within me, the love within me, sees and honors the divine and the love within you. Namaste.